Imagine having a 9 to 6 job. After your high school glory days, you finally manage to get into a company. You just clock in, have a very productive day, and finally get to go home and watch the latest anime everyone is talking about, and hit the sack and wake up to start a new day. But that's a different story if you spawn in Asia. Here, the amount of work you do decides your entire fate. And there's an added bonus of having a jerk as a boss who thinks you're the reincarnation of the Flash. So everything better be done in one day. And mental health? Never heard of it. Just deal with it and smile through the pain. There's no escaping from the system. You will always run this rat race until the end. And now you've got 3 options left. 1, work your ass off until you go bald and become the CEO of the company so no one will look down on you. 2, become an independent creator and start a YouTube channel.
Are you YouTuber?
I am.
3, become a superstar so famous, companies throw themselves at you for hiring, which sounds unrealistic, but this guy actually did it. This is the story of a guy who quit his job and walked away from that bloody slave system and decided to go to Australia for a working holiday. But on the night of his resignation party, his friend casually invites him to an audition. And when our boy touches the script, his life changes. He gets the power to dive into any story script and act it out exactly like that character. And this ability takes him to the next level. He becomes a sensation in the entertainment industry. And he also pulls many actresses who are really interested in it. Now let's see how this guy escaped the Matrix. The story starts with our boy getting questioned by judges about where he learned acting and if he studied abroad. Woo Jin tells them he's just a design major graduate and learned acting on his own. The judges are still shocked by his performance, and Woo Jin tells them he's done here and starts to leave. Before walking out, he warns them not to use his performance video in any broadcasts. Otherwise, he'll sue their asses. The judges are left stunned, and they start arguing among themselves about how good his performance was. One of them says, "In the jungle-like entertainment industry, a monster-level genius has appeared." Meanwhile, Woo Jin feels like crap because he's embarrassed about his acting. But more importantly, he suddenly sees a black square in front of him. To understand how this all started, let's rewind to a day earlier. Our boy had just woken up with no memory of what happened the night before. After quitting his job, he went drinking with his friends, but now he has no idea how he ended up back in his house. His friend Kim Young calls and asks if he made it home alive. Woo Jin asks what happened last night, and Kim tells him he just disappeared after drinking, and now he's wondering what the hell Woo Jin was doing. Fed up, our boy asks why he even called. Kim Young reminds him that last night they agreed to go to the super actor audition together, a major broadcasting event that discovers hidden stars, open to anyone eager to show their talent. Woo Jin says he's not into it anymore, especially since he lost his memory from last night, and tells him he's gonna dip out. But Kim Young mentions that one of the judges will be Hong Hai. Just hearing her name, our boy freezes. Then he shows up the next day without saying anything because he's a big fanboy of Hong Hai, and just seeing her is worth it. Woo Jin turns to Kim Young and sees him looking like crap because he needs to release last night's Taco Bell straight into the drain and can't hold it in. So he tells Woo Jin to notify him if his name gets called. Our boy assumes he'll be back in 3 minutes, but even after 10 minutes, he's still in the bathroom. Just then, a staff member calls for Kim Young. Woo Jin starts to panic and doesn't know what to do. Woo Jin tells the staff member that his friend went to the washroom. The staff member argues that he'll be disqualified if he's not on time. Woo Jin tries asking for a few minutes, but then the staff member gets a call and starts acting very sus. He tells Woo Jin to follow him. When our boy opens the door, he sees the judges, and also Hong Hai. He thinks she's really pretty. Then, a staff member gives him a script and tells him to hold on to it while he waits for his friend. If he gets bored, he can read it. But as soon as Woo Jin takes the script, he sees a black square in front of him. When he touches it, he suddenly gets sucked into it and transported to another dimension. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself in an empty space, and in front of him is the script with detailed information. As Woo Jin checks the script, he sees the words "frightened man," and the system begins to synchronize it. He shouts out, asking if anyone's there. Then the system begins reading. Suddenly, Woo Jin's reality shifts, and he's on a mountain. It all feels incredibly real. His instincts tell him to run, and without even thinking, he starts running non-stop, not knowing why. Then he realizes he's being chased. Panic sets in him. He doesn't understand what's happening, but a dark figure appears behind him and tells him to stop running. Woo-jin trips on a branch and falls to the ground, feeling real pain. The figure approaches and says he's hungry because of him. Woo-jin screams for help in fear and begs the figure to spare him, but then he feels something incredibly painful. The figure just stabbed him with a knife. Laughing like a madman, the dark figure says he's going to eat some pizza after this. Woo-jin lies there on the ground, terrified and screaming in pain. And then he blanks out, collapsing right on the floor in front of the judges. Everyone is stunned, watching him. Our boy starts thinking, what the hell did I just do? He's completely embarrassed, realizing he acted out everything he experienced in that strange space without thinking. He imagines the judges must think he's a complete weirdo since he was just screaming and rolling on the ground. He thinks he should just book it and leave. But then Hong Hai starts praising his acting. She even asks him which university he graduated from. Woo-jin keeps a poker face, but deep inside, he's simping hard for her. So he puts on his Giga Chad face and calmly tells her he just graduated as a design major and learned acting on his own. Another judge starts asking more questions about him, but our boy brushes them off, saying he's leaving, and once again reminds them he'll sue them if they use his footage for broadcasting. And that brings us to the start of the story. Later, he meets up with Kim Young, who asks how it went. Woo-jin asks him the same, and Kim tells him he got thrown out like a tissue paper in just 15 seconds. But then he mentions the judges were asking about Woo-jin and wonders if he did something. Woo-jin plays it off and says it was nothing. Then he asks Kim Young to show him the script. When he looks at it, he still sees the black square, realizing again that by touching it, he can experience the scene written in the script. Woo-jin asks Kim Young if he has more scripts at his place. Kim Young says he do. Then they head over to his house, and Kim Young hands over another one. As Woo-jin sees it, the black square appears again. He tells Kim Young to watch closely because he needs to check something. The moment he touches the black square, he's back in the empty space. This time, he sees 2 scripts floating in the void. He figures out he can collect and store scripts from the real world inside this space. But when he tries to leave, he's stuck, and he is still in the empty space. Then he starts trying different keywords like log out, turn off, and finally says exit. With that, he's back in reality. Kim Young, who saw him suddenly freeze mid-sentence, asks what just happened. Woo-jin notices that even though he spent 5 minutes in the space, the time didn't pass in the real world. Then Kim Young gets a call. It's from the PD of Super Actor. He hands Woo-jin the phone. The PD tells him he passed the first round and asks if he's planning to come again. Feeling shy, Woo-jin says he's not interested. It was just a hobby to pass the time. The producer tries to convince him, but he declines. She gives up and tells him she'll take care of deleting his video. Woo-jin then asks if he could at least get a copy of the footage, and she agrees. After the call, the producer approaches the PD and asks if she got his number. Back to Woo-jin, he's lying on the ground, feeling exhausted. He had planned to test more stuff at Kim Young's place, but after causing that whole scene, he had to run away. Now he finally understands the rules of the black square. First, the time stops in the real world while he's inside it. Second, other people can't see the square. And lastly, saying the keyword exit lets him leave the space. Now that he understands how the square works, he pulls out 2 more scripts. Before entering the space again, he checks their ratings and basic info. Once inside, he sees another script has been added, along with visible grades on each one. He starts wondering what the grades mean. It doesn't seem to reflect quality, so maybe it's about popularity or performance. Then he realizes he can even see scripts grades, which hasn't been released to the public yet. He is surprised to see it has a B rank, the highest one he's seen so far. Kim Young had told him it was still in pre-production, yet Woo-jin can still see its grade. After exiting the space, he decides to read the second script titled Detective Agency. But just then, his phone buzzes. The PD has sent him the audition video. Woo-jin thinks his acting will feel super cringe when he watches it, but when he hits play, he sees his terrified face. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the director. She's blown away by Woo-jin's performance. The producer points out how expressive he is and asks if it reminds her of any character. The director looks at her own script which includes a sociopath character analysis. She'd been worried she couldn't find the right actor for the role, but now she decides to take a closer look at Woo Jin's video. Back to Woo Jin. He's watching his own expressions and screams, realizing he actually did pretty well. Thinking back, he remembers how he acted all tough in front of the judges out of embarrassment, but now he realizes they probably think he's a genius. Still, he doesn't think about it too much. Instead, he focuses on running more experiments in the empty space so he can learn more about its features. He also hopes he doesn't get stabbed in his sleep again. After grinding all night, he finishes everything he set out to test. He now understands that when using the script, he doesn't just memorize the lines, he literally feels everything. He experiences all 5 senses, emotions, and memories of the character. It's like their world becomes imprinted onto his own. With this level of skill, our boy starts thinking maybe he should become an actor for real instead of wasting time going on a working holiday. Maybe this is how he could live an interesting life. Then, he gets a call from the producer. The man wants to meet him as soon as possible. Woo Jin puts his tough guy act and asks why. The producer says it would be awkward to talk about it over the phone and prefers to speak in person. Woo Jin agrees and says he's free at 4 p.m. and the producer says he will send him the address. Before going, Woo Jin looks him up and finds out the guy is a big shot in the entertainment industry. Still, he wonders why someone like that wants to meet him and hopes it's not about asking him to act again. Unfortunately, he jinxed it. The producer admits he was really curious about Woo Jin's acting after yesterday's performance. And now, our boy is surrounded by the director, the producer, Hong Hai, and other crew members, all of them staring at him. Woo Jin thinks, what kind of nonsense is this? He had a bad feeling before coming here, but they really want him to act again, and he just started acting yesterday. He wonders if he should just keep his mouth shut. The producer hands him a tablet and says he can read the script from there, but Woo Jin immediately notices there's no black square. Without that square, he can't access the empty space, and without the space, he can't act. That means if he tries anything now, his skills will be completely exposed as fake, and at this point, our boy can't think of any way out of the situation. Woo Jin starts overthinking, worried about what he should do now, but then he takes a deep breath and clears his mind. He tells himself it doesn't matter, it's not like he needs to risk his life over some experimental acting, so he decides to just start. Everyone stares at him in anticipation as our boy begins to say his lines, but the moment he starts, all of them are in shock because his acting is trash. He's butchering the lines, talking like he's half asleep, and delivering everything with zero emotion. Everyone watching is confused. It's like he's a completely different person from before. His acting feels flat and trashy. Meanwhile, Woo Jin thinks he'll just do a rough job and go home. He keeps up his tough guy act and tells the producer that since he's already been exposed, they might as well stop here and let him leave. The producer stares deeply at his expression and realizes he is acting like someone who can't act, and that he's even expressing dissatisfaction through his performance. And with that misunderstanding, he asks Woo Jin why he is acting like he can't act. Everyone is surprised to hear that, and our boy thinks, what is this guy smoking for having this type of misunderstandings? But he keeps his composure and responds that they suddenly asked him to perform without any explanation, and he doesn't like being treated like that. He gets up to leave, but the producer quickly asks him to calm down. He admits he was too hasty in showing off Woo Jin's acting without preparation and promises to explain everything. Woo Jin agrees and sits back down. The producer explains they're working on a new drama and they want Woo Jin to be part of it. Hearing that, Woo Jin blanks out for a second. He wonders if the guy is actually being serious. Then the director chimes in. She says this is the first time she's ever revealed the script to someone outside the team. She asks Woo Jin to choose any role from the script and act it out. The producer adds that they'll give him 10 or even 30 minutes they're willing to wait. Woo Jin nods and tells them he'll take a look. After reading for a bit, he picks a role and both the director and producer are completely stunned because Woo Jin chooses the role of Assistant Manager Park, the one with the dog scene. The director is confused. The character is a sociopath. It's an extremely difficult role, and she had been carefully searching for someone who could handle it, but Woo Jin picked it without hesitation. She gets even more more surprised after our boy is willing to do it without seeing the script, and wonder how he could understood every emotion from the lines alone. The producer tells him to begin. As the scene starts, he wonders what kind of performance Woo Jin will show them now. Then our boy taps into the character, and his expression changes into a menacing look. Looking at him, both of them are stunned to see how quickly he changed his expression. Woo Jin begins acting like he's smoking. He lowers his gaze and says, "It's dog poop." His mind syncs perfectly with assistant manager Park. The script comes alive within him. Then he spots a dog, and at that moment he sees a silhouette like fireworks in him. Dark thoughts flood his mind as he approaches the dog with a cold, blank expression. He says, "It's cute and so squishy that it makes me want to pop him and make him splatter all over." Then he places his finger on the dog's nose. Suddenly, the space is filled with a burst of fireworks, and the dog explodes in a pool of blood. Woo Jin's face is covered in blood as he stands there in total silence. Then he taps out of the empty space, opens his eyes, and calmly says, "It's over." But in front of him, no one says a word. Everyone is dead silent. They're terrified not just by his performance, but by how perfectly he embodied the character. It wasn't just acting anymore. It felt like the character had come to life right in front of them. The director is completely shocked. The character of assistant manager Park was someone she had poured her heart into creating, and she believed no one could bring him to life. But Woo Jin shattered that belief. Not only did he embody the role perfectly, he went far beyond anything she imagined. She realizes she can't afford to lose such a monstrous talent. Meanwhile, our boy is thinking the role really sucks, and on top of that, he saw some crazy colors in the space during the performance. Just a few minutes ago, when they handed him the script, he didn't even understand half of what they were saying, things like casting and audition. The moment he spotted the black square, he had gone into the empty space again. He thinks this is driving him nuts, and he knows they want him as an actor in some massive project. So he decides to sort out the script first. Upon inspection, he sees it's an A-grade script, and wonders are there even grades above A-grade. Maybe he can experiment with those next. For now, he scans the script for smaller roles and spots assistant manager Park. He chooses it, and the system begins syncing, and we already know what happened after that. Back to the present, Woo Jin wonders how they'll evaluate him now. The director gets up and walks toward him. Our boy panics, thinking, "Is this woman mad at me?" But instead, she grabs his hands and requests him to take the role of assistant manager Park. She tells him he's the only one who could pull it off. Meanwhile, the producer finally understands why she's so excited, because she's seeing the same monstrous acting potential he saw earlier. But our boy is panicking inside, seeing her intense reactions, and thinks it's all too much for him. Trying to keep his cool, Woo Jin calmly tells the director to please let go of his hands. Then, the producer says he has a few questions. He asks Woo Jin how long he's been studying acting before coming to super actor. Our boy knows it's only his second day, so he gives a vague answer, saying it's been a while. That simple line leads to another wave of misunderstanding. Now the producer thinks he's been acting for over 10 years. The questions keep coming, like if he studied acting overseas, was he trained in method acting, and so on. Seeing this barrage of questions, Hong Hai steps in. She tells Woo Jin that he doesn't need to answer if there are any personal circumstances involved. Woo Jin quickly latches onto that idea, thinking it's a perfect excuse to keep his abilities secret. The producer thinks it should be fine. After all, he appeared at the audition, so he can't be some criminal, and he definitely doesn't want to lose a talented actor like Woo Jin. Then he asks why Woo Jin chose that role. He mentions it would have been much easier to go with a simpler character. Even the director is curious. Our boy, without hesitation, says because the scene was short. Everyone is shocked. The director is dumbfounded. To think he chose such a complex and emotionally difficult role just because it was short. Sure, the scene might be short, but it's 10 times harder to act out than most others. The producer also wonders what's wrong with Woo Jin's brain, because any sane person would avoid playing a sociopath. He can't figure out if Woo Jin is a genius or just an oddball. Meanwhile, Hong Hae has her own thoughts. She thinks Woo Jin is clearly showing off while pretending he's not. Seeing them, Woo Jin already knows they had even more misunderstanding about him. So, he decides it's time to book it. He gets up and heads out. Outside, he gets a call from Kim Young who reminds him of their plan to hit the bar later. He also asks Woo Jin to return the script. Woo Jin agrees. As he presses the elevator button, he suddenly hears a voice behind him. Hong Hai calls him. Our boy turns to look and gets mesmerized by her beauty. He feels very happy hearing her say his name, but keeping his poker face on. He tells her he needs more time to think about accepting the role. He thinks it'd be weird to accept it too easily, and it wouldn't look cool if I said yes right away. So, he continues his arrogant act. Then, Hong Hai walks closer and asks if he's signed with any agency. Woo Jin, still stunned by her beauty, our boy says he isn't. She asks him why, and he casually says he doesn't need a reason, but she quickly realizes he must have his reasons and chooses not to press further. She changes the topic and asks his age. Woo Jin replies that he's 27. Hearing that, Hong Hae smiles and says, I'm 2 years older than you. Just then, the elevator door opens. As he steps back, she tells him it would be great to see him again in the project. The door closes, and just like that, our boy stands frozen, completely folded, after having an actual conversation with Hong Hae. He thinks it's been a good day.